Hey everybody, how's it going? Wow, that might have been a flawless opener considering Rusty's not here to do all this stuff. Wow. Can you guys hear me? See me? Can you hear Kevin? See Kevin? How's everything coming out tonight?
Morning all.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to assume you guys can see us. And if somebody can put into chat that you can see us, that would be great. All right. We're going to go with it. So I'm going to go ahead and say hi to everybody. We can see you. Thank God. All right. Very good. Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and say hi to everybody. Soldier Farms is here. Baby Kisses is here. Dad is here. Amy Joe, Johnny's Latecraft, Landraver 90, Raja, my brother. Grumpy's here. Back Road Bill, Billy Schumett, and Crafteristas. June's House of Craft, very cool. And of course, TimList is here. He's backstage waiting. Plywood's here. Very good. Good to see you, Plywood. Tim and I were actually joking backstage and seeing if I missed anybody. Kevin's here, of course. Kevin's right there. His beautiful face. There's two names in woodworking. So if you forget somebody's name, Resonating Art with Amy by Amy. Thanks for being here, Amy. It's either Tim or Josh. So if you forget someone's name, just kind of throw out a Tim or a Josh. Runick's here. Thank you for being here, Runick. And if I missed anybody, Pilato's here. I almost missed you, buddy. Almost to the top. Miss Francis is here. Beatin' Crazy Custom Creations.
Tina's in the house.
Awesome. Jeff is here. Thank you for being here, Jeff. Did I say Grumpy?
Oh, the Bear and the Boss Lady. I thought he was smaller.
Bear and the Boss Lady. All right. So I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I am sorry. Mark the Maker. Yes. I have your email. I did get it, and I will be getting back with you shortly. Thank you very much for sending me an email. I will get back with you probably tomorrow, and that is awesome. So we have a really cool guest tonight, and I want to talk about him just a little bit because he's one of the nicest guys that I know. Just talking to him and getting to know him here on YouTube. You guys know him. His name is Tim from TimList Creations, and Tim does DIY projects and woodworking, really creative type crafting. I look at it as if he tinkers a little bit with, different things here and there. He does some carving, he does some scroll saw work, and he does really a little bit of everything. The only thing I haven't seen him do yet is a chainsaw. But I think because he cut his thumb on the table saw, he might be a little scared of the chainsaw. We're good. We're going to ask him that. But he's done some really cool crafts like snowflakes and different holiday crafts. So if you guys would you please welcome, as soon as I can bring the page back up, Tim from TimList Creations.
Hi, everyone.
And I'm going to give you a round of applause. Bam! Yeah. One more. And then for good measure, there we go.
Oh, there's the land.
Oh, I forgot to pause it. It would have kept going. Oh, my goodness, that's funny.
What's up, guys?
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Man, you know, it always amazes me, and I love you guys. I get in here anywhere from 20 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes early to get the heat turned on, get my laptop set up, and you guys are in chat talking already like a half hour early. And that is awesome. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Cool. So, Tim.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your channel? And Kevin, if you have any questions that you want to ask Tim, keep them because I'll ask you and have them ready.
All right.
But Tim, do you want to tell everybody about your channel?
Yeah, it's just a channel of little things that I work on, from little things, from little Christmas ornaments. This was carved out with the knives, and then sanded down with a split mandrel using the Dremel.
Here you go.
Like
I'm going to solo you so when you show stuff, they can see it.
Okay. And this was inspired by watching a fellow by the name of Doug Linker. I'm sure we all know him if you've been watching some of the knife carvings. And this was a fun little thing to do. Basswood, of course. Definitely wouldn't do that in oak. I do a lot of things. Matt Carrs, when he was surfacing that one board with his Dremel in his workstation, that really got to me. So I went and made this, and all this back in here is nice and smooth using that flat bit that he had. And you've seen this up on my channel. If you looked at my channel, you've seen this. Just a couple praying hands. You can see where it's let me get up here on the screen. It's carved down here, so you can see the hand in the front and the hand in the rear above the background in that. That's just some of the things I like to do. That's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. It is from church and my faith and everything. But I do like a few other things. You know, Bear does his morel mushrooms. So I did this.
Nice.
Which I think turned out pretty decent here.
Yeah, I know. That's a decent morale.
Yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. Then I got a little squirrely. And I did this other one here. Got little puppy paws on it.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. Started out doing just a regular one, and then I said, over here, I got messed up with just a whole bunch of dots, and they're trying to do a morel. And I said, well, why not put doggy paws on there? And I think it turned out really nice.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and throw out a question real quick.
Yeah.
So you do quite a bit of scroll saw work. What got you into wanting to do scroll saw work?
Well, before I even got online here and found some people in the tribe here online, there's a local fella. His name is can I mention his channel?
Yeah.
It's Carved by Esposito or Carved by Ed. If anybody wants, I can give them a link to that. And
yeah, go ahead and put his link in there.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that real quick. And yeah, see where to go. There it is.
And while he's searching for that, speaking of links, I did pin Tim's link at the top of the chat. So if you have not subscribed to Tim yet, please go ahead and subscribe to him. Tim is super nice. And if you haven't noticed, he's in just about every single person's chat ever at some point in time. So you're not only supporting him because he's awesome, you're helping support him because he supports everybody else. So that is what I think is very cool. All right, go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
Okay, I'm back here. Ooh, I can't do that on the computer. I got to do that over here on the phone.
No, that's fine. Don't worry about it then.
Anyways, it's his little sign is the @ sign KEDESPO.
Soldier Farm, I believe, just posted that.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's a local fella, and he did some really amazing work, in my opinion, with the scroll saw. And as such, it made me want to get one. And last Christmas, my wife gave me one for Christmas. It wasn't a big fancy one. It wasn't a hanger or any of those big names. It was a Wen, 16-inch Wen. But if you take your time with it, it does just as good a work as some of the other ones do. The only problem is if you're doing those inside cuts,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have as much room because the head doesn't move up,
Oh, gotcha.
But it did that. And here's some of my scroll saw work.
That's nice. Let me solo you.
Yeah. Carve that out. And if you look at it at an angle, you'll see that they're carved down in here with the Celtic weave. Similar to what
hold it up just a little bit more. There you go.
Okay. And you can see where it's carved down. And then I painted it to highlight the heart in there. It was a nice little pattern that I found just looking at Pinterest or internet search. And then the other thing I did was this guy, a nice little nativity scene, and both of those were up on my channel. And the neat thing is, my old mechanic saw these. I put them up on Facebook, and I don't go around selling a lot of stuff because I do this as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
He ordered 15 sets of them.
Wow!
To get to a adult confirmation class that he has at his church. And last I heard that everybody just loved them. So it's kind of a boost in your ego,
Yeah. So I do want to and I forgot to do this. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I want to thank Kevin for sitting in tonight. If everybody doesn't know, that's Kevin Durica. Rusty had a previous engagement tonight, so he couldn't make it.
Come on,
Kevin's pretty face is filling in for Rusty. Yes, Kevin.
It was a hair appointment he had. He was going to get his curls straightened again so he could fit that hat on his head.
Yeah, no. With curls, the hat doesn't fit on his head. So he's getting his hair straightened. That's what it is. But anyways, I wanted to say that. Most of you guys know who Kevin is, and I'm sure you were not fooled that wasn't Rusty. But I just wanted to say thank you for filling in for Rusty tonight. So Kevin, with that being said, do you have any questions that you want to ask Tim real quick?
Tim, I see a chess set in your future with those mushrooms. They're looking awesome, and even in the comments, everybody's loving them. Have you thought about doing a chess set?
I thought of it and I said, "How am I going to differentiate between the pawns and all the other characters in there?" And I'd have to come up with a design for all those. But yeah, if it was in there, I could probably do something like that. Making the chessboard is not going to be hard. It's like making a cutting board.
That chessboard, I'm not worried about. Those pieces are just fantastic, though. Even the comments are just blowing up. Cool. What made you get into YouTube?
Okay, well, to get into YouTube, I was looking in there and I saw this young lady out there who made a real nice Christmas angel, and comment on her that saying that's really looks nice, and she hadn't seen me before on any of the channels or her videos and that, and she asked me, well, what do I do? And I told her I fiddled around with with the scroll saw, and wanting to get into the Dremel work, and that I had made some prayer bowls, and it was, excuse me.
I love show and tell. I love this.
And this was the prayer bowl that my wife found. She found a picture of it online, and I figured, well, I could do that. So we went out to the hardwood store and picked up some, I believe it was 6/4 walnut. And I ended up putting a subsequent video of that up on my channel. It's one of my first ones. It was uncut, and the camera was shaking all over. It was a horrible video from a video standpoint, because what I didn't realize, I had it sitting on the workbench. I had the camera supported above, attached to that workbench. And as I'm in there with regular bench chisels, chiseling that out, that camera's just bouncing all over the place. And I realized that after I uploaded the video, and I said, well, I'll try to do another one later. But the first bowl that I made, and I showed it to her, and she fell in love with it. And my wife has it at church for a candy dish.
Nice.
Well, she showed a picture of it to a friend of ours, and it was kind of sad, but her brother-in-law just lost his son. She lost a nephew.
Oh, no.
He passed away, and she wanted to give him a prayer bowl as a bit of encouragement. So I made one for her, and she had it there, and she had it in her house for about 10 days, and she was about ready to send it out, and she says, I can't send it out. I love it too much. And thought that was fine. I said, I'll carve you one for you if you'd like, you know. And she said, oh, please do. So she mailed that off, and I carved her another one. And, you know, each one of them is going to be a little bit different, but they're all close to the same line. Carved her one, and so she bought 2 of those from me. Those are the first 2 carvings that I did that I sold. And then a lady at church saw the bowl and said, but that's pretty, but it's too big to put on her table as she walks into her house, you know. And so I said, well, that was an 8-inch heart. I'll make it a 6-inch. So that's too big. And I said, no, it's a good thing she didn't want it any bigger, because that's about all I had left out of that 6-quarter walnut. And so I made 4 of those things, and I don't have one of them in the house. They're all in other people's houses. But
wow.
Anyways, the young lady, she's very nice to me, and she encouraged me to get into doing this YouTube stuff. And what she had made that caught my eye on her video was a little angel like this.
Oh, nice.
And I think on hers, instead of holding a songbook, it was holding a heart. And I think we all know who she is, and that's Miss Amy Jo. And she's been more or less my mentor to get me going on this, and really is quite encouraging at the beginning, and she still is. But so much encouragement from everybody else around here that just kind of keeps me going.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
You had me all the way up into that last part. Hold on. No. Did I hear you right? You said Amy Jo is like your mentor? I mean, are you talking like the Mentos that you put in your mouth, or did you misspeak? What was that about? She's
been very encouraging. She's been very encouraging, and giving me suggestions on some things, and then early on, and lately, you know, just being very supportive, and I'll bounce ideas off of her, and she's been great. She's been a big help. Good friend.
I mean, you're talking about resonating art with Amy, right? Not like Amy Jo.
With Amy Jo. Amy has been encouraging too a lot lately too, since I've been watching some of those resin channels.
Then you know another side of Amy. You know another side of Amy Jo that I don't, because man, she is tough on me. I'm telling you right now, tough. But anyway,
I've noticed that. I've noticed that.
I have to admit, when it comes to Amy Jo, I am thoroughly surprised that, oh, hush, wood sparkles. All right, cornbread. I am thoroughly surprised that when you were on the live with Amy Jo, you came away with clean fingernails. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I didn't challenge her. Somebody advised me not to.
I told you not to. All right, so I'm gonna throw another question out there real quick. Yeah. You kind of covered it a little bit with that last segment of what you were saying about, you know, the church and stuff. But where do you normally find inspiration for the projects that you do? Now, I mean, we talked about, you know, the church stuff, but is there anything that you do personally? You know, I want to make this, or I'd like to try and do that. You know, where do you find other inspiration from?
I watch a lot of videos. Like I said, the praying hands. The inspiration on how to do that came from Matt Carr's, and I think we've all seen that video. Matter of fact, I think that got you using your drill press to make some things like that.
Yes, and
the way that works, you just got to be careful, because
yes. And since you said that, I have to give a shout out to Matt Carves, because if it wasn't for that video, I probably would have never tried using the drill press to carve out a heart, which in return, that video has got almost 38,000 views. So Matt Carves,
Really?
thank you.
Wow.
The check is in the mail. Yes. So anyways.
It's just using it like a milling machine like we had in metal shop in high school.
Yeah.
And I never thought of using the Dremel for that. Never did. And it's really been pretty cool. But prior to getting into YouTube and that and doing those bowls, I saw Doug Linker sitting down with his knife and just whittling away at things. And so I started to try some of that. And it worked good until the arthritis in my thumb started yelling at me saying, stop. And when you guys get older, you'll know what that feels like. So
I know what that feels like.
Yeah. I still do that on good days. And on other days, it's not that good, but I still like creating the things that I make with wood. And I'm trying to look for one here.
All right. While you're looking for it, I'm going to respond to Matt. Matt says, I've got to send Amy Jo a check too. Matt, unfortunately, she already got her check. So, yeah, Amy Jo got her check already.
Anyways, one of the early things that I got from Doug Linker using with the knives was just making a little door.
Nice.
And you can see how that's not painted. That's carved and then painted in each of those lines there. And it was fun. And you just use the little detail knife, put the little accent marks up in there to make it look like a wood grain. And that's one of my first pieces that turned out the way I expected it to.
Now,
some of the other ones, I'm going to show you the old ones.
No, that's fine. Have you watched Mark DeMaker? I know he was in chat, but have you watched Mark?
I've watched some of his, and off and on. There's so many of them I want to watch that if you look at my subscribe list now, it was about like this, and now it's about 100 times that.
Yeah, so
and
Mark,
I try to keep up with a lot of them, but
yeah, Mark, I've watched.
I don't get you, but he makes
I've
a lot
watched
of good
a few of Mark's videos, and I kind of feel like Mark DeMaker is the whittling equivalent to Matt Carves, or vice versa, because they're both very patient in their approach to show you their techniques. Even though they're different, they're the same. So yeah, if you haven't seen Mark, watch Mark. He's pretty good.
Yeah. And lately I've been interested in getting into some lathe work. Just what some of these guys do is phenomenal. And there's local lathe turner or wood turner in my area that nice fella, great fella. If you haven't checked him out, you need to. It's Todd Laganis. I hope I said your name right, Todd. LJ Woodworks, I believe. Great fella. And we were in there talking in a chat one day, and no, I do not have a lathe yet. I got to get my building put up first. The building right now is laying in my side yard. It got delivered today. The materials to put up my my little pole barn. I'll put my travel trailer in there, and then I'll move my wood shop out of a portion of the garage where I have no room to. You turn around and you're bumping into things, without walking anywhere. And we all know how that feels. And so I said, well, if we're going to put our trailer in a garage, I'm going to make it big enough where I can have, about a 16-foot wide wood shop and going back about 20 feet or so. That should be. I'd like to say it'd be ample, but I know as I move on, I'll start filling that up.
Right.
It always works that way. But
So
Kevin, a nice size garage.
Kevin, so I don't just leave you sitting there. Do you have another question that you want to ask, or are you good?
The scroll saw, have you ever thought about doing a 3-layered piece?
Well, that nativity scene is a 2-layered piece, and I thought about it, I've been thinking about trying some of that intarsia work where they use all the different pieces of wood, different species of wood, and not really using any stains, but just the color of the wood makes the image.
Okay.
And, yeah, there's a few pieces I made. I made one that was, and again, it goes back to church, a little bit of the grave at Easter time, and
The tomb.
It's in a block of poplar, and I got slots in it, and I cut out a piece out of some thin plywood, and that's the grave, and then you got the angel there and the two ladies that went to the grave, and they're in different slots to give it more of a 3D effect, and that turned out pretty nice. I enjoyed that, but that's dealing with the table saw.
How's the thumb?
Well, here it's healed up better. It's still got a little bit of a divot in there. It has the nerve. Here, you want to see it? I don't know if you can see that real well or not. Does that help?
Yeah, no, that's good.
There's a divot right there. And what I noticed as the thumbnail's growing out, there's a little divot on the back of the thumbnail now. That'll grow out. It's coming along good. I mean, I got good movement in it, you know. Almost just like the other one. It just doesn't have the sensitivity. It feels like I got a layer of glue over the tip of it.
So I kind of feel like I'm surrounded here because I kind of am. But Kevin, didn't you have a incident with your thumb or fingers? Also?
I did. Same thumb, same issue. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, looks like mine.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
There's Kevin.
It's still got a little scab or whatever right in the middle, but it's
a little rough skin, yeah.
Yeah, I constantly take my nail clippers to it and cut it out and whatever I need to be able to do dishes and other stuff in life.
So
yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to make fun of either one of you because tomorrow I will be changing my table saw blade and I have had enough surgery stitches and needles put into different type of cuts into my body.
Yeah.
So I will not make fun of you guys. I'm glad you're healed. And I hope this twosome does not become a threesome because I cannot handle any more stitches. I can't.
Yeah. I had 13 in that thumb. That was enough for me.
Oh, I got lucky. They could only get 5 in. There was not enough material left.
Oh.
Kevin, I don't know if that's lucky or unlucky. You know?
Even the doctor was questioning. He says, I can't get the needle through. Your skin's too thick. I'm like, then how did the saw cut it? He didn't have a humor, but whatever.
Yeah.
The saw is probably a lot sharper and moving a lot faster.
Yeah, you can't.
I won't go into the details as to how that happened. I may share that with you on a personal basis, but I'm not going to. I just don't want to get that with everybody else.
So you guys may or may not have heard this story. It's healed up pretty good.
Yeah.
But this finger right here, I was
I got a carving of that out in the garage.
Yeah. I was slicing green cucumbers with one of those mandolins, and I did not have the safety guard, and I wasn't paying attention.
No.
Slicing, right through the nail, right through the meat, everything. I looked down, I was like, "Oh crap!" But that's not what I said. I ran over to the sink, and my wife's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "We need to go to the hospital. This isn't good." And we get out to the car. No, this is such an event. The kids want to go. The kids are like, "We got to go." So the kids go. We get into the car, and my wife asked, "Did you bring your finger?" And I was like, "No." So they went back in, and they found the finger inside the bowl with the cucumbers.
Well, those cucumbers went away.
Yeah, the cucumbers went away. So they wrapped it up. We went to the hospital, and they said there's nothing they could do with it. So they had to schedule surgery, and it was something.
Yeah, the doctor was afraid they'd have to do surgery on mine. They wheeled me into X-ray, and they took 2 or 3 pictures of this thing, and they determined that it came close to the bone, but it didn't hit the bone. And as such, I didn't need a surgeon. He said, I think we can just stitch it back together and just have my family doctor look at it in a couple of weeks and take the stitches out.
Yeah,
So
no,
she took the stitches out, kept that scab on there until the scab fell off, and it's healed up good.
Yeah, no, what they ended up doing with this one was, and the nails growing back pretty good.
Yeah.
But they basically skin graft it. They cut like a V out of the rest of the finger, and then flapped it back over, and sewed it together. So now you can see like a V scar where they cut it and flapped it. But anyways, enough about that. I don't want to make people sick.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll leave that for the hospital channel.
Yes. Yes.
That must be on Beaver After Dark.
Yeah, that'll be on Beaver After Dark. All right, Tim. So what's been the most technically challenging project you've taken on so far?
I'll show you a picture of this one actually it's a pyrographic thing.
Oh, if this is the one I think it is, I want to see this.
Yeah. And I did this in September, early September. And because this past September would have been my dad's 100th birthday. And needless to say, I miss him terribly.
Yep.
And well, he was in the Navy in World War II, and he served on an LST. Now, for those of you that aren't sure what an LST is, it's one of those boats where the bow opens up and the vehicles and the troops and everything roll out the front of the ship. So this was from a photo that they had of his ship sailing out of San Francisco Bay as they were heading out there to go to war. And all that work in there I did with a little wood burning tool, pyrography tool, and then I colored that in with some like a wash from some acrylic paints. And the stuff that's really light above the gray there, that's the cargo that was on the ship.
Nice.
Over here is the superstructure of the ship, but all this over here was the cargo. And the picture didn't have anything on the shoreline, and I figured it needed to have some trees up there. So I don't know if they had trees at that time in San Francisco or not. I'm sure they probably did. The photographer just couldn't capture that.
Right.
And this was on a piece of basswood that I got at Hobby Lobby. And surprisingly enough, they wanted $20 for the 3-foot section of it. They had it on sale for a third of the price.
Yep.
So
Wow.
I like that. That turned out real nice. Then I think I got about I put that matte or semi-gloss finish on there, and I got about 6 coats on there. That's why it reflects so much. But I just felt it just moved me. I didn't have anything that says do it. It just came to me and says, you're going to do this. You know, I had no inspiration for it.
That was beautiful.
I had it done 3 days before what would have been his birthday.
Beautiful piece. Beautiful piece. Sorry, Deland, just a heads up. Rhinestone Suzanne has entered the building, and so you might want to stop talking nonsense about her before she makes you paint your toes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Suzanne's here. I got to be quiet. With that being said, everybody that's come in, there's so many people here. Thank you for being here. Pilato, no, my finger did not look like a cucumber. I was not paying attention. I was not looking. And my finger turned into a cucumber. So just, yeah. Yes. But everybody that's here, thank you. If I haven't said hi to you yet, hello, and know that you're here. I appreciate you, and I do see you. And what a lie. I don't mean to change the subject, but since Suzanne is here, and hopefully Amy Jo is still somewhere listening in the background.
So
what a live Monday. That was awesome with those two on here carving together for the first time ever. That was awesome. And I've thanked those guys so much for doing that. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was a good live.
A lot of fun.
I had my first live a week or 2 weeks ago tomorrow. Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. And Amy Jo and I got on and just carved.
Mhm.
And I had to talk with her. She did more of the talking because when I got to carving, after what I did to my thumb, that I concentrate on what I'm doing, to say the least. And it turns out my son was out there watching it too. I didn't know what he was watching it, what his screen name is. And he says, "Dad, I watched it. You need to be more attentive to the people in the chat." So,
You
all
know,
right.
I get that so much. And and if you don't do lives regularly or you don't do this type of live, I don't think people. So with Rusty here, it's a little bit different. I mean Kevin's here, and that, you know,
Nice.
that's awesome. But doing this type of live on this side of the camera, it's I'm paying attention to this page. I'm paying attention to that page. I'm trying to look at questions here. I'm trying to be, you know, conversate with you at the same time. It's not always easy to catch chat.
Oh, it is.
And sometimes chat's going so fast. So while I understand what he's saying, it's not the easiest thing to do. I go back a lot of times and will rewatch the entire live just so I can see chat and what was being said. And yes, I miss a lot of what you guys say about me, but I see it. I see it.
You seem to catch what I say about you a lot. Anyways, Kevin, you're talking about inspiration. Back when I saw this angel and I just wanted to do it because I thought it was a pretty decoration, could be a nice a tree decoration for the holidays. I got this from Amy Jo. Well, about 4 months ago, a friend of ours at church found out that she had breast cancer, and you know, she's a good friend of ours, and she's doing fine. She's doing fine. They went in there, took out what they had to, and biopsies. Everything's looking good on her now. Praise the Lord on that one. But what I did while she was in there recovering before all those biopsies and that came back is I carved a little version of this. Now here's the bigger one. I made these little ones. What I did differently on these is I don't know if you can tell on the camera, they're sloped. The wings are carved forward like that. So it fits in your
Bring it up,
hand.
Tim, bring it up
Yeah.
and hold it back just a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. And it fits in the hand real well. You know, if you have a flat piece of wood in there, it pokes into your hand a little bit. Well, this has it being carved like that. Maybe you can see them better that way.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. You can see how they're
rounded.
toward the front. Yeah. That I carved them, and the one I carved her was just a little bit bigger than this because I gave her two of them about the same. Figured one she could carry with her, and she keeps them both on her nightstand to be her guardian angel. And as you're carving things, you may not think anybody would appreciate it and that, but a lot of times it means so much to them that it's worth it.
So I will say,
it's worth it for somebody who's in need, somebody who's hurting. Whether you give them a little angel or something that's dear to them, carving if they like dogs, if you can carve a little dog for them, that it'll just mean the world to them. If they've lost a dog, that their dog passed away, and you can carve something that looks like their dog, give that to them as a gift, because I guarantee you that'll mean so much to them, and they'll be very appreciative.
Yeah. You sent me a couple prayer crosses, little pocket crosses.
Yeah.
And I still have them over on my desk, and I keep them with me. I don't keep them on me every day, but they are right there so I can see them every day, and I pick them up every once in a while and touch them. So I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
Because I think your brother was ill at the time, and
yes,
I sent you some for you and some for him, and I hope he feels the same way about him. It's just a bit of you don't expect it, but you get a bit of encouragement from a friend, whether it's somebody you personally know, see every day, or somebody from the internet like this, you know.
Yep.
Just to know that people care.
Thoughts and
You know,
prayers.
amen. Exactly. No, I
So-
don't want to turn this into a Billy Graham thing, but
No, you're good.
That's where I come from, and it just means a whole lot to me. And I know, Delanna, it does to you.
Yep.
Kevin, I'm sure it does to you a little bit. I don't know how
course.
deep, I don't know you that well, so I can't speak for you. But yeah, it's just show a sign of caring to help other people out when they're going through a rough time. You know, find out what would help them. You know,
Yeah, no,
it isn't easy sometimes.
never have a problem talking about God. Never have a problem talking about religion. You know, I here's the thing.
Mhm.
Here's the thing
Yeah.
with me, and you know, chat however you guys feel. I believe that our conversations start where they start, and then they are spirit led from there. So if we start off interviewing Tim from TimList Creations, and then we get into a 45-minute discussion about God,
Right.
then that's a spirit led conversation, and I will never turn that away. So, and that's how I look at it.
Okay.
Yep. And I accept it and agree with it and reel it in as often as I can. So, but I'm going to ask a question.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated during creative
Kevin's getting
slump?
photobombed.
Nice.
Hi, Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So how do you stay motivated in making things in projects?
Wow. It goes from project to project. If I'm just doing a little doodle, where'd I put him? I was listening to some ZZ Top the other day, and I made this little dude.
All right, cool.
Nice.
And I couldn't quite get Billy Gibbons' hat down right, so I just left it flat. But I just looked like him, you know. And then some things that I'll sit there and work on. Out on my bench, I started to make a grandfather clock out of a 1x4 inch piece of basswood. I started out hand carving it. Then, of course, my thumb says, "You're not going to do that today." So it gets set down, and then I took the Dremel to it, and I get to a point, and then I just I don't know what to do to it next, so I set it down, and it just stays there for a while, and it'll just sit there on my carving bench and just stare at me. And so some days I'll pick it up, some days I won't. You know, and so I made a little something that owl that I carved with Amy Jo. I tried a little something on another piece that to get comfortable with it. And what I think I'm going to do is put a little hatchling on that same piece of wood that I carved that owl on. You know, make it a family tree, if you will, so to speak.
So
That's cool.
Did you happen to see Rhinestone Suzanne's challenge? The emoji challenge? Are you gonna?
I've been looking at a couple of them. I'm not sure what I want to do yet.
All right.
But I've been looking at the emojis on the phone, and then I got to try to figure out how I can enlarge them so I can have a picture there instead of having to flip the phone open and try to get to it all the time. And then when it gets on that, it's about this tall on the phone with that little line.
Maybe Google it on a laptop or computer, and then you could get a bigger picture that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
If you guys haven't heard about it, Rhinestone Suzanne one day announced an emoji challenge. So go to her channel, watch her video, and if you want, participate in that. Simply pick your favorite emoji, carve it, send her a picture, and you're entered. And if I'm wrong on that, Suzanne, put it into chat. But I think it's pretty much just that simple. Have a picture of the emoji that you're carving or making. Doesn't have to be carving. It doesn't have to be, it could be resin, any material. you can use. It doesn't have to be carving, doesn't have to be chainsaw. You can make something, cut something.
Anything, yeah.
Yep.
But you did say, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that it should be as accurate as possible.
Should be.
Well, wouldn't your angel already apply for that emoji challenge?
I would think so, but I already submitted this little angel as part of my watcher for always watcher challenge because
Hey, there's nothing in the rules that says you can't reuse.
That's true. That's true. I could do that. I'll have to see how close it matches the angel and the emojis.
So I'm gonna step on Suzanne's rules right now for a second.
Sure. Okay.
I think reusing something that already has been made is probably against the rule that she never thought of. So I'm gonna say no. You're probably gonna have to make something new.
Yeah.
That's going to be my thought. Maybe she'll overrule me, but I think you have to actually make something for that challenge.
Yeah. Okay. So you saw that ship.
Thank you, Laura Durica, for getting me a new sub.
Okay.
Was it a turkey sub or a ham sub?
It's
Italian. The ship was my first real project with the wood burner. I mean, I practiced a few things to get the feel of how the different nibs on the wood burning station works.
That
was the first project I did. And then June had a little thing going on there, June's House of Crafts.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, Amy Jo's got an idea. Anyways, for June's House of Crafts, I wood burn this little guy from a pattern that I saw.
There you go.
And I thought it turned out pretty nice.
Awesome.
That is really cool.
It hangs up on the wall in the living room, or in the family room. Now, I have carved some signs in the past, not using the Dremel or anything, just using a router. And this is the only one I have in the house. And it was for Easter. But I was going to hang this up at church, but the leaves got a little too green. I figured, in the springtime, the leaves are a little brighter.
Yeah.
So, anyways, here it is. And that was all done with a router.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
It was this one or another sign that I did with a router. And I was quite pleased with them. With the router, just like with the Dremel, you just have to be very careful where you guide that bit.
Yep.
And remember that you got a whole lot more horsepower pulling that bit through there than you do with the Dremel.
So now, with that,
yeah,
and I'm going to unsolo you for a second.
Okay. Sure.
You use just a little palm router, right? Because
palm router, trim router.
What's that?
A palm router or trim router, yes.
Okay. So I don't have one of those. I have a router that mounts to my table. Right. And then I have a huge plunge router where, you've got like two handles here and you set your depth, plunge it down, and it goes. So your palm router, is that depth set, or can you plunge it up and down?
Okay, I set the depth on the bit. I don't have one in here with me. Say the bottom of this little guy is the router base.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a little tool that I measure the depth, and I usually start at about 1/8 of an inch deep. I'll get this back up in the camera, Tim. And I set that up there. I got a little depth gauge that I'll set over the top, and it'll tell me how deep it is. And then I just go in there and decide whether I'm going to follow the inside or the outside of the line. If I'm carving out the image on the inside, that's called being an inset carving. An outset is when you carve around the outside to make the item that you're trying to highlight stand out.
Right.
And pretty much like you do on these noses, that's outset.
Yep.
He's standing out. And if you had a standing in there, that'd be a weird guy who lost a boxing match, but yeah. And when I first started after I retired, I started looking at a bunch of things as to what I can do, try and find a hobby, because I didn't want to be one of those guys that sit there all the time watching every channel that's on the TV. And when you just get over the air TV, you run through them real fast, because there's not that many broadcast TV channels around. And so I decided to get in there. I've always made some things out of wood. In our old house, we had the old picture frame window frames going around all the windows. And I wanted windows that had a sill on it. So I built a window sill and then put some crown molding underneath that and everything, and made it look real nice. And then along the edges, I took some 1x4 poplar, and I kind of made that look like the old farmhouse type of window casings. And then there was a shelf over the top of that, which everybody that's come into the house looked at that and they says, I can't see that. You don't see that anymore. Where'd you come up with that? I said, I didn't hire anybody, I made it.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow. And I wish I got pictures of it somewhere, but I think it's on my old phone, and I'm not even sure if it's there anymore.
So I'm gonna send you a picture on in Messenger later on tonight or tomorrow, because
Okay.
I have probably the exact same thing that you're talking about.
Okay.
I was at a antique store and found a few of those old windows. You know, the rope kind, where the rope attached to it
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to do some repairs to it, but what I did was just like what you're talking about, but only I took some cherry wood and made a window seal, and then inset the window into that window seal, made a cherry, and now it hangs up on our wall.
Oh,
and in the middle of it,
cherry.
What's that?
It's got to look great with cherry.
Oh, I love it. I love cherry. I love cherry.
Yeah.
And it holds.
I did mine with poplar when I did that, and I did the whole house in it, simply because poplar was cheaper than buying cherry, and my funds were really quite limited while I was still working. I got more money now that I've retired than I did when I was working. I don't know why.
You know what I did? I think I did what every beginner woodworker does, which is dumb. When I first got into woodworking, I thought I had to go out and I had to buy cherry and I had to buy oak and I had to buy this and I had to buy that and I had to make everything out of it. And I ruined so much good wood by doing that, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing then, you know? And now I realize, you know what? I'm going to make something out of Home Depot lumber. And if I like it enough, then I will invest the money to make it out of the nice wood. But just for these videos and stuff, I don't need to have expensive wood, but I really do like cherry.
Now, I got some 8-quarter poplar in my garage that Mr. Todd gave me, that he got from Big Dog. And he usually gives a lot of that stuff to Ray, because they all live around me. Big Dog's up north a little bit, but Todd is to the east of me, Ray's to the south of me. Soldier Farm is a little bit to the east of me. And we really need to plan to get together and get everybody together, sit down and have coffee and just talk about stuff, No.
Yes, because I can make it to
Ohio.
Ohio.
Come down if you want to make the trip.
I can make it to Ohio in 25 minutes, and I can probably be to Dayton in a few hours. So
that would 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. But we just got to find a date that works for everybody, But yeah, just to share experiences in that. I mean, I remember years ago buying a chest of drawers for my boys, and in a kit form. It was by Solder. Remember those guys? They made furniture and that in a kit, and you put the kit together years ago. Then it was Bush, and now it's IKEA. But these were actually solid wood back in those days, and anymore now it's cardboard, or so it seems. But I made those for the kids, and they lasted 30 years. You know, a little bit beat up, but they still work great. I made some bunk beds for my kids when we moved up here to Dayton because we were in service. Got out of service in Georgia, moved to Mississippi when I first hired on with the FAA, who I worked for and retired from. And then we moved up here to Dayton. And they slept in those things like, for a long time. Then they said, well, we're going to have separate rooms. I said, okay. Out comes the old circular saw, chopped the uprights off a little bit to make them be about right. And yeah, it worked great for the kids. And until wife and I decided we needed a new bed, then the old bed went to our oldest son. The youngest one still had the bunk bed, but it's hand-me-downs.
Yep.
Everybody's experienced a hand-me-down. But yeah, it's.
All right, Pilato has a question.
Yes, sir.
That evidently I missed. So I'm asking him what was the question, so I don't miss Pilato. Hey, Roger, brother. So Pilato, push your question back into chat, and I will answer it or ask it. What's your favorite YouTube channel, and why is seriously? What is your favorite YouTube channel, and why is it Pilato Creations?
Whatever.
I do watch up. One of your episodes that I enjoyed the most was before your wife went in the hospital and she's trying to guess what the tools were for. I thought that was very entertaining. That was a really good one, Pilato. Yeah, just that levity that was in there. Yeah. I think on that one is when I subscribed to you.
Awesome. Kevin, do you got a question?
No, I was just busy laughing at Pilato and his comment.
All right. So Tim.
Yes, sir.
Real good question here, I think. Let me look back at it. Well, let me start with this one. Are there projects or formats you haven't done yet that you really want to try? Like, resin work or, something like that. Is there something out there that you want to try that you haven't tried yet?
I'd like to try some of that in Target. I referred to that earlier where they're using the different species of wood, but I don't have the tools to work that down to where I need it to right now. I mean, I probably could get by with what I got, but I just want to. There's a few things I just need that I feel I need, like a good sander instead of that drum sander on the end of the Dremel. I mean, that's not a bad sander, but I need a better one. So
Pilato says, Tim, you must be one of the only few who actually watch the long form video. Here's the thing. So I learned something with Pilato.
Yeah.
Don't tell him you watched his video.
Okay.
Because he will start asking you questions like, what did you like about it? What did you see? Kind of like, did you really watch it or did you just comment? So I really watched his video and I gave him his answers. So don't ever tell him unless you watch the video that you've watched his video, because he will ask you for an essay. Essay,
that's like the boss, isn't it? The essay.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
Barry.
See you, Matt.
See you, Matt. All right. So I'm going to throw out one more question, and like Kevin put in chat, if anybody has questions they would like to ask, put it in the chat and tag either me or Kevin in it. So you went live with Amy Jo, which that was really cool.
Right.
Are there any collaborations that you would love to do inside or out of YouTube And who would it be? It doesn't necessarily have to be a YouTube creator. But is there just a project that you want to do with somebody that is kind of on your to-do list?
I'd like to learn how to make pens.
Okay.
A little bit of lathe work. And find out what the difference are between the different types of tools that they use. I've seen carbides, I've seen scrapers, I've seen the high-speed steel gouges, and there's so many different tools with lathe work that it just has my curiosity up. And I did have a bit of advice, which I think I'll probably do after I get my building built, is take a class. Go down to Woodcraft or community college or something like that, or a vocational school, and take a class in wood turning, just to try to learn the basics, basically, to just learn the basics on what to do and what the different tools are for. I mean, the class I saw down at Woodcraft, they want $180 for it for an afternoon.
Right.
I thought that was a little steep, but then again, you got to look at what you're learning too, and what's being supplied with the class. So one thing they don't tell you is if there's a discount on any of their lathes after you take the class. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something I would like to do. I mean, I know there's a lot of lathes out there. I've seen the little lathes that are only about this long, that I think you can turn a toothpick on them.
So is that the type of lathe that Grumpy has? Because I noticed Grumpy's got a relatively smaller lathe.
He's got a Wen lathe, and it's a 8x14, I think. Is Grumpy's? If you're still out there, speak up as to the size of that thing. It says it'll do an 8-inch round. Basically that's 4 inches from the spindle down to the bed.
Mm-hmm.
But when I hear that, I always think, oh, that's great. But how do you get that banjo, the piece that has your tool rest on? How do you get that underneath that? So you can't really go that full 8 inches, because if you got an inch rise on that banjo,
but
you got to get that under the bowl to get there and start curving around that side.
But if you have a 6-inch tool rest,
yeah,
a 6-inch tool rest or an 8-inch tool rest that sits on top of the banjo will compensate for that banjo from going underneath.
Okay. Thanks, yeah. So it will reach around like that, depending upon how deep of a bowl you're carving.
Yep, of course.
So, okay. So I guess you could say that's an 8-inch, and I think it's 14 or 21. I don't know. Is Grumpy still out there?
Yeah, it's 8x13. He said
13. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a smaller one. That's a Wen. And then I see these other ones. Harbor Freight has these ones. I hear some people say they're great. I think Johnny carves with a one from the Bauer one from Harbor Freight, from Johnny's Lathe Works.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few of them, and some. And I know the Shoops have they got a Craftsman, and then they got one from the older ones from Harbor Freight before they had the Bauer. I think it's Chicago Electric, but it was another one that they had, Central Foundry or something like that.
Todd said if I was buying a lathe, I would wait for Harbor Freight's 20% off sale and get the Bauer Johnny's lathe Craft has.
Yeah. I saw that they just had a 20% off coupon that expired, I think, last Saturday or last Sunday. And I said, if I only had room in my garage to put that right now, because everything that was in my shed is in my garage, and I have a hard time just walking around to get to where my little carving station is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have room to set another box in there.
Now I know this is going to sound,
but they come up. They come up every so often. So
I didn't know that you have to turn at different speeds. Or you can turn at different speeds. I was not aware of that. I thought it was just one speed, you go. But watching some of these guys, they talk about how they slow the RPMs down, raise the RPMs, and all that. So that would get confusing for me.
Yeah, I'm not really sure when you go with the lower speed or the higher speed. I think you go with the higher speed once you get it more balanced. If you got a square block of wood up there, I think you'd want to go at the lower speed so as you're trying to get those corners carved down or turned down, that you don't want it to get off balance and really come flying off at you. We've already seen a video where a bowl came flying off, and actually I think it didn't fly off. I think it just broke on him. And
Yeah, it exploded.
It exploded on him. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
there was a pretty good bruise on his belly.
Yeah, that it did.
So,
Balance. Oh,
yeah.
Balance, then soft. It keeps moving on me. Or hardwoods.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I keep
Mark the
watching.
Maker says, I see small lathes on Facebook Marketplace all the time, pretty cheap. So,
Yeah.
and that's my question. Not that that's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually glad he brought that up. So,
Yeah.
would you trust buying a used lathe off Marketplace if it was cheap compared to just going out and buying a new one because you don't know what that person did to that?
Cheap. If it's cheap enough, I would probably do that, because I wouldn't think the motor in it. If there's a problem with the bearings in the motor, of course I'd plug it in and test it there to make sure it's not squealing or any grinding in there. You know, you can sit there and you can spin that thing, and I would listen to those bearings just like you do when you're working on your car. You know, when you're doing your brakes and that, you want to check so that when you move that tire that you don't hear a big grinding noise. You know, so with that, I would listen for that, and if it feels smooth and it sounds smooth when I plug it in, if they'd let me plug it in, then I probably would. You know, I mean, it's not going to be 30-minute test. I mean,
Right.
it'd just be a couple minutes test to see if it comes up to speed and all that. And if it's one of those where I have to move the belts all the time instead of the variable speed ones, which are the new fancier ones where you can just turn a little rheostat and it speeds it up or slows it down, you know, I could deal with that if the price is right.
Gotcha.
And I'm not so I'm not inept with mechanics that I couldn't replace a motor. Like I said, I was a electronic technician, replaced a lot of motors, fan blowers and stuff like that on all of our equipment and stuff. So that stuff is just old hand to me.
Nice. Awesome. Well, at this point, I'm going to ask if Rusty was here.
Mm-hmm.
So we got about 20 minutes left.
Okay.
Are there any questions that you may have for myself or Kevin, since Kevin is here? And Kevin probably didn't expect to answer questions. So ask Kevin a question.
Well, Kevin, I've seen a few of your videos in that, and what is it that you do mostly? You do carving or you do turning work, or what do you do most?
I more or less play with tools. I've had a full-time job for the last 31 years, and in the intern I've done construction and renovations during that time. So now that I'm not doing that anymore, I've found a way to turn tools into toys. And basically, I see something and I said, well, let me see if I can carve with a circular saw. Yeah, it doesn't work well. You know, probably why I cut my thumb, but that wasn't why. So yeah, and then I got into carving, I think it was 2011 or 2013. I was at work and the guy said, I think I just got married at the time. Guy says, oh, every year we get a real tree and we cut the tree trunk into discs and we make ornaments, and we just take a marker and write the year on it, and that becomes that year's ornament. I'm thinking, oh, that's a cool idea. And then I said, well, do you sand it? He goes, well, no. I said, do you slack it, or do you stain it, or do you put a finish on it? He goes, no, I use a marker. And I'm like, okay, well, I said, okay. So that gave me the idea. Then I think I ended up getting married after that, or just before that. And I thought, okay, well, let's do a real tree. And so every year I got, I think 5 now sitting in my garage because I'm 5 years behind, ready to be cut into discs and make the Christmas ornaments. But then I found that my son was in grade school. And so I cut I don't know, 40 of these discs out because they're really fast to cut. I sanded them all down, and I picked the ones, the few I want, and then I'm going to create the design on the few. And I offered the rest to the teacher at the school. And this goes all the way back to him in kindergarten. And it's ever since then, they make their own Christmas ornaments every year.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing with the real Christmas trees, and I'm you probably know this, and since they've been sitting in there for 5 years, they're probably good. I had ideas with our Christmas tree this year, but then I thought about it and the length of time it would take for the sap and the wood to dry out. I was like, I don't know if I want a Christmas tree sitting around the garage that long.
So you when I cut down my tree, I bring in a yard waste bag from outside, right? And I cut all the limbs off. Let me see if I can show you. I know it's covered right now. This is can I flip my camera on this one?
Sure.
I don't know how to flip the camera. Hold on one sec.
If you guys haven't, hit that like button, please.
Let's try this one.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
So you see where is it? There's a Christmas tree out there somewhere covered in snow, leaning off just on a chair. That was cut down. It's all delimbed, and there you go. It's all delimbed. All the pine needles are out, and all I do is that'll sit out there until I finally get off my ass and stick it in the garage. Pardon my French, but I think that makes year 5, which means it's not ready to carve for at least. I mean, I could push next year if I have to, but I see no reason if it can just sit in the garage and dry out. Now, that's a thin one. So am I going to get Christmas ornaments for whatever? No, it's too thin. I mean, the selection this year was horrible, but some of the ones in the garage are thicker, and I've had other
little guys like this with it, small enough to do little guys.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions, Kevin. Kevin, I have 2 questions.
Sure.
And I'm going to start with Pilatos because he says, is it an actual pine tree? So there's question number 1. And you've said 5 years a few times. So I have to ask, has that pine tree been sitting on that couch for the last 5 years?
Yes, it has. No, this is this year's tree. There's 4 in the garage, and I think it's called a Douglas. Is it Douglas fir or blue spruce or something? Little short needles. The yard waste bag is still sitting in the front of the house. I can go show you if you can identify a tree.
It's more than likely a Douglas fir.
I haven't got around to it because this year I was playing with the table saw. And I mean, I use it quite a bit. It's not like it's new. I think it's an X9 10-inch or something like that. DeWalt. It's not new. It's very, very well used and abused, like some of my equipment. But this year you guys were all, are carving on round logs. I'm like, just cut the log in half. So that's what spawned one of my YouTube channel, or my channel was, I'm going to show you guys a short on how to do this. It's easier than you think, and you just need a table saw. And it's instead of having a round that sits on a desk or on a shelf, let's be honest, it collects dust. No difference in the pictures in the background, but the pictures in the background are easier to clean. Versus, something on a shelf that could be furry or whatever. So that's one of my upcoming things, is to show people how to split a log in 2 safely, and kind of safely, and they can maximize their inventory from 1 log to 2, and they can become wall hangers very easily.
Cool.
I think spoon carvers do that. You see them creating their blanks for their spoons by doing that, except they're using an axe instead of a table saw.
An axe will give you a rougher edge on the back. That's all.
Yeah.
But I think got a nice sharp axe, so you can sit there with it and just shave it down pretty good. If you get your axe is sharp enough.
Once I get my bandsaw up and running, I'm gonna
That's
start
another one I'd
cutting
like to
some
get
logs in
advanced. I
half,
don't have
but I don't
advanced
know if I'm
blade.
ready to try that on a table saw yet. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that. Not at least until I get a new blade put in, because yeah, I don't trust myself.
Well, you need a ripping blade, not a crosscut. That's for sure.
Well, I don't have a ripping blade, so I have to look for that. So, all right, we have about David Duffin. Thank you for being here, sir. We've got about 10 minutes left. Less than that, because my phone is almost dead again. So I'm gonna start wrapping this up.
We got to your phone dies.
Yeah, because it did that last week. I don't know why it's dying so fast. And I've got my wireless mic hooked up, and I've got to look into a link that Runic sent. So I'm going to go ahead and say, Tim, thank you for being here. Kevin, thank you for covering for Rusty tonight. I've had a lot of fun. Do you have anything that you want to say to the chat, Tim? If you guys haven't, go to Tim's channel and subscribe, please, and Kevin's.
I'd just say if you're stuck, set that particular project off to the side and try something else, because what's getting you stuck there the answer might be in the next thing you carve. And if not, there's plenty of carvers out there that you can watch, and they'll have a different way of doing things. Like for a long time, I had a hard time doing eyes. I still do, but I'm doing a lot better on them. And just watching, Jordy is another big name out there to carvers that does a lot of the tree spirits and that. Matt Carves does a phenomenal tutorial on doing eyes. That's my personal opinion. I think he's great on them, And if you just can't do the eyes, give me a close up here. This little guy here looks like he's got his eyes closed. Yeah.
I was typing.
Okay. Those eyes right there, looks like he's got his eyes closed.
Yep.
That is just done with a bowl burr. The diamond bowl burr, it's got the top is hollowed out. And I just came at it from an angle from below like that and just cut those in there. And they make great little eyes. Make great little eyes.
Alrighty.
Until you feel more comfortable doing it the other way. So, yeah, just keep trying. You'll find your own way of getting things done. And yeah, you'll get frustrated. I'm sure we've all been frustrated trying to do something. And when you get to that point, or all I do is just set it aside, come back at it later.
All right.
Sorry, Pilato, to answer your question, the pine tar is sealed in with shellac. Shellac is the only, not even a finish, but the only thing you can put over pine tar to seal it in, or pine sap.
Yeah. Well, that's giving me some ideas. You're talking about those little ornament discs. I just cut down an abrovite tree that was going to be really close to my new pole barn that I'm putting up. And so we took that out, and I can make use of some of that stuff like that to make little ornaments or even bigger pieces. And abrovite's got some nice threads as you get just underneath the bark. And I think that's what I'm going to give it a try. I got a few of the bigger pieces stacked up, but I might keep some of the smaller pieces just to try that. It's a nice idea, Kevin.
If it's a big enough piece and you can get them flat enough, you can make chargers for tables and stuff like that as well.
Oh yeah, it's endless. And at the very least, you can make you can use a wood burner and hang it on the wall or carve into it or do a combination of it all. And
have you ever have you ever thought about carving out a backdrop and like mirror images and inserting tissue paper in between the two, so like a stained glass? But
yeah, what I have done is I had some 1/4-inch plywood that was more or less Luan. It wasn't real fancy, and I was doing my sign carving stuff at the time. But I was just starting to get into it. And I saw this one fella out there, and he made a light box. And it said Happy Thanksgiving, and you put Merry Christmas on the other side if you wanted to. And I didn't feel comfortable using the router because I was just starting to get into it, and I sunk at it. And so I tried it with the Dremel, and it turned out okay. But the letters, you still see some roughness around the letters, and that was, I think, was really one of the first times I tried using the Dremel for carving something or for a piece of art like that. But,
what about the scroll saw? So
I didn't have my scroll saw at that time.
Oh, right.
That was pre-scroll saw. Only other choice I would have had at that time is to drill a pilot hole and then use a coping saw. That doesn't sound fun to me.
No. Everybody's got one, but nobody uses them.
Yeah. I think they've been handed down to us from ages ago, you know.
Here, this is. I don't
Okay,
know if
John. See, John says, will DeLand make it to the bathroom in time? Depends. I heard that joke just the other day.
I'm gonna try and show you something. It's not. I don't know how well it'll turn up because DeLand can't solo me.
Yeah, well, he's got me soloed right now, so
Yep.
I don't think it'll.
Oh, you can't even see that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, he must be back.
Oh,
cool. All right. I don't know what's going to show up and where.
Yeah, pull back just a little bit. I see you got that bird carved in there.
Yeah, and it's this phone's going to die. I don't have a picture on this phone to share you, to show you.
Is that the one with the tissue behind it?
Yeah. So when you hang it up over the light, it just shines. It's like a very, very light blue.
Okay, that's cool. Well, that box that I told you where I carved in a Happy Thanksgiving and I put some little LED lights in there.
Yeah.
What I did, so you didn't see the light bulbs as much, is on the back side of it, on the inside of the box, I put a piece of wax paper and just kind of tape that in place so it would diffuse the light. And that turned out really nice. But using a blue paper like that would have been nice, but I didn't have any at the time. There he is.
Hi.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's cool, Kevin. I like that. The little carving on there, that bird was real nice.
That was for Quinn's, or my son's, his son's name's Quinn. Grade 4, was it? Teacher? And she was going through a hard time. It was originally carved with peace at the bottom, and I dropped the Dremel as I was carving it, and it didn't say peace anymore. So I took the piece out and modified it to
cool.
Yeah.
And there you go. That goes back to what I was saying earlier. When anything you work on, it'll mean something to somebody. You know, whether you're at a crafts fair or whether you're giving it to them as a gift. You know, if it's a subject matter that they like or means something to them, when you give it to them, they will really appreciate that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, but you're sideways.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, my phone died again. It won't charge fast enough. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live because it's been an hour and a half anyways, but I appreciate you guys. Hopefully chat can hear me. Tim, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. No, we can't hear you. Okay. Thank you, Amy.
I appreciate it. Thanks everybody.
That's your mentor, Tim. Right there. Amy Joe.
Amy Joe. Yep.
Just say pink, DeLand. She'll hear you.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say anything to her anymore because speaking of which, she needs to watch it because she's coming on the show next week. So Amy Joe's going to be on the show next week. And then the week after that, the 29th, is going to be Beanie and Pops, Amy Joe's brother. So Amy Joe better be nice to me because she's going to be on the show next week. And then her brother is going to be on the show the week after. So we can get all the dirt on Amy Joe.
Okay.
All
Bye,
right.
Natalie. I see her scrolling through here saying goodbye. So yeah, I
Yes,
appreciate
like,
everybody
I
coming
hang out
out.
for an
I think
hour.
we had a good time here, and hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something about me and maybe some of the techniques and that, and just how giving gifts to people can really brighten their day. You know, especially if they're in a down mood. You know, they need something that can be a real big pick me up.
Nice.
Well said. Well said.
Well, thank you guys very much. And you two stay backstage, don't leave yet. But everybody
Okay.
else, thank you for being here tonight. Sorry about the phone. I will make adjustments next week, and this won't happen again.
How am I in the back cave, Suzanne?
So thank you
Okay,
guys. Have a good night. See you next
Night,
week.
everyone.
All right. Good night,
Night,
everybody.
everyone.